When Prince William's composure finally fractured, it was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the immense, silent burdens he carries for his family, his nation, and his own healing heart. The image of the future King of England, his shoulders slumped, his usually steadfast blue eyes shimmering with unchecked tears, is one that etches itself into the public consciousness. It is a fracture in the perfect facade, a crack in the marble statue. This was not the dignified, stoic Prince William the world has watched evolve from a grieving boy into a pillar of dutiful stability. This was a man, heartbreakingly human, finally overwhelmed by the cumulative weight of a destiny he never chose, of losses that never fully heal, and of a silence he's expected to maintain. The setting for this emotional unveiling was, like so much in his life, both profoundly private and painfully public. It was not at a grand state funeral, where ritual provides a scaffold for grief, but in a quieter, more vulnerable space, perhaps during a speech at the opening of a mental health sanctuary for bereaved children, his voice catching as he spoke of the isolating pain of loss that never truly leaves you. Or maybe it was during a surprise visit to a community center supporting veterans with PTSD, where a veteran's raw account of holding it together for your men while falling apart inside resonated with a truth too familiar to bear. Wherever it happened, the trigger was not a single event, but a key that unlocked the floodgate holding back an ocean of deferred emotion. William's first great burden was learned in childhood. The art of public composure as private life disintegrates. He was just a boy of 15 when his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed. The world remembers the two young princes walking behind her coffin, William's head bowed, a gesture of mourning mistaken for maturity. In reality, it was the posture of a child hiding a face contorted with anguish, navigating a mile-long walk under the crushing gaze of millions and the flashbulbs that had hounded his mother to her end. "Please, can you walk a little slower?" he reportedly asked his grandfather, Philip. The request was for pace, but it was a cry for time. Time to process, to breathe, to be a boy in pain, not a prince on display. He learned then that his grief was not entirely his own. It was a global commodity, to be observed, analyzed, and judged. The stiff upper lip, that quintessentially British expectation, was welded onto him at his most formative moment. He became, by necessity, the family's young rock, for his brother, Harry, and in many ways, for a nation swimming in a grief it did not know how to express. Perhaps the most privately agonizing weight is a shattered relationship with his brother, Harry. The duo, once united by the unique trauma of their mother's loss, "the two of us against the world," as Harry once said, now represent a chasm of misunderstanding and public acrimony. The Harry problem is not tabloid fodder to William. It is the collapse of his most foundational alliance. Their shared grief once bonded them, but their coping mechanisms diverged drastically. William, the heir, turned inward, upholding the institution. Harry, the spare, turned outward, fleeing it. William's tears likely hold the bitter salt of betrayal, yes, but also the profound sorrow of losing his last living tether to the Diana they knew as boys. He is not just mourning a brother who left, he is mourning the last witness to his authentic pre-crown self. Every public barb from Harry is not just an attack on the institution, but a puncture in the protective familial seal William has tried to maintain around his own wife and children. This role as protector is paramount. In Catherine, Princess of Wales, he found not just a love match, but an anchor of normality and a resilient partner. Her own recent and serious health challenges have been a brutal reminder of the fragility of the sanctuary he has built. Seeing his wife endure surgeries and treatments while simultaneously shielding their 3 young children from the maelstrom of public speculation has forced him to confront his deepest terror, the specter of loss revisiting his family. His tears, then, are also those of a terrified husband and father. He is determined to break the cycles of emotional silence and media intrusion that plagued his parents' marriage and his own childhood. But the pressure to be the unwavering shield for his family, while the institution he will lead faces unprecedented scrutiny, is a colossal strain. He is trying to be the modern, emotionally available father his mother would have wanted, while embodying the stoic, unchanging figurehead the monarchy traditionally expects, a near impossible duality. So when the dam finally broke, what did the world witness? It was not a collapse, but a catharsis. It was the boy who lost his mother, crying for the father who was now king and aging, for the brother who was now estranged, for the wife he fears for, and for the childhood he never had. It was a man acknowledging the terrifying scope of his future, not with cold acceptance, but with human trepidation. In that moment, William did something revolutionary for a man in his position. He modeled the very vulnerability he advocates for. His mental health campaigns through the Royal Foundation have always urged people, especially men, to speak their pain. In shedding a tear, he silently screamed that burden. He demonstrated that strength is not the absence of feeling, but the courage to bear it openly. The public and media reaction to such a moment would be a seismic test. The older, traditional contingent might see it as a worrisome lapse in regal dignity. But for a newer generation, particularly in Britain and the Commonwealth, it could be the moment Prince William became truly relatable, truly credible. It bridges the immense gap between the symbol and the man. It proves that the crown does not magically armor the heart, it simply gives it more to protect. Furthermore, it throws into stark relief the inhuman expectations placed on this family. We consume their joys as national property, and their sorrows as global drama. William's tears are a silent indictment of that relentless gaze. They ask a question: is there no space for this man to simply be human? This heartbreaking update is not an end, but a poignant pivot. Prince William's tears water the ground for a potentially more authentic, humane monarchy. They show a leader who has not been hardened by his burdens, but deepened by them. He is not breaking down, he's breaking through the carapace of ceremony into a more integrated existence where duty and humanity are not opposites, but intertwined. The road ahead remains unimaginably steep. Healing the rift with Harry seems a distant hope. Steering the monarchy through the 21st century will be an endless challenge. Supporting his wife through her recovery is his paramount concern. And one day, he will wear the crown that now feels so heavy. But when he does, he will bring with him not just the training of a king, but the hard-won wisdom of a man who has wept, who has feared, and who has loved fiercely. The tears he shed were not of surrender, but of profound recognition. They acknowledge the heartbreaking cost of the path he walks, a path he walks not just for himself, but for the memory of a mother who taught him to lead with his heart, and for a future where strength is redefined not by what is hidden, but by what is endured, felt, and ultimately transformed. The world saw a prince break down in tears, but if it looks closer, it might just see a king in the making, forged in the fires of personal truth, and stronger for having dared, for one unguarded moment, to be gloriously, heartbreakingly weak.